Hello everyone and welcome to the Hisui podcast. I'm Wolf Taiko and I'm here with Kinraid 5, Tomix 9 Tomix, and ENLS.
Hello.
Hello.
What's up?
If you don't know ENLS, he is the current owner of Eevee Expo, if I'm not mistaken, on top of the developer of many Pokemon fan games. I don't know how many on the top of my head.
Me neither.
You guys might
tell
be
you.
up there for the most fan game. Like, you guys are competing for that
Like
top spot, I feel like.
Yeah, probably like me and Voltion, I guess, just together because I've made basically all my fan games with him. He should have been
Yes.
here, but I speak on behalf of him. It's fine.
Your other half.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with
So much
like
different.
that one jam. Was it? You were Voltion who made like 5 different games.
Yeah,
It
it
was
was Voltion that was in the Winter Jam 2, I believe, the one in 2021. He did Beekeeper and he helped me with Quantum, and he also play tested on Bill's experiments for me. And then he did Pokescape, and then he did Pokeclicker. So that's like 5 total. But yeah, I don't think right. And right after that, we there was a new rule in the Relic Castle game jams where you can only submit one game, and it was dubbed the Voltion rule. So that's fun. But yeah, no. After that, we focused more on quality and instead of quantity, and I think that has helped. So.
Well, as much as you can focus on quality when quantity when making an ancient jam game.
Yeah,
That was one time for them.
it was one time. That is true.
Yeah, they were also the
That
one
was
who started
horrible.
the movement, though.
I suppose Shattered Light was a fun time, not for Voltion, but for me, because I was just having fun making some scripts and doing like a couple maps, and but Voltion was doing like one map a day. That was his entire mantra throughout that jam, was just get one map fully done per day, and and he had to do that because it was like 40 maps. So probably more, but so that was stressful. But I mean, the only reason we made Shattered Light was because they said it couldn't be done,
Yep.
and so we did it. But
I don't know, it's like toned down a little bit in jams, mainly because we didn't have one last jam. But there was a
Yeah.
while there where like every single jam there was a new one.
yeah, we realized after a while what we had unleashed. Like, I mean, I guess we started this. I don't know. We like to take credit for it, but it's also just, it's not necessary in my opinion. I feel like we did it just because it was a challenge, not necessarily because it's something that we thought people would enjoy. Turns out people did enjoy it. And then others started taking inspiration and trying to do it themselves, which turned that was a success for some of them. Not all of them. I'm not gonna name any, but like, I think since the last jam there wasn't really any. I think that the hype for that is probably over a bit. Like, they realized that
It can't be like an easy
more
cheat
fun
code
to just
anymore.
yeah, no, the people have kind of realized that it's not. We have played 8 gym games before. And like, there's only so much you can get done in a jam, anyways. So at some point they become the same, sort of. So I think more short and sweet things like the most recent jam with like Slowpoke Shack, which I helped Kenny with, which is more like just a short and sweet little story. I think is like perfect to encapsulate what a jam should be, or a jam game. So But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
like,
fair.
I
We've
agree.
basically echoed the same in this podcast.
Yeah. I think a lot of people in Route Castle, or sorry, EVE Expo, think that
Wow,
way.
I can't believe he said that in front of the owner of EVE Expo.
I know, dead name in the
What?
website right in front of him.
That's
How
fine.
dare you, Tom?
There are a lot of people out there who, I guess, for them, they just want a regular Pokemon game to play. They just want to chill, catch some Pokemons, beat some gyms. And that's kind of the kind of people that 8-gym fan games tend to appeal to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
Which
were
that
just
is
kind of. I was gonna say we were just trying to take the piss out of those people that were saying like, why are no one making like full national decks, 8-gym, Shadow Pokemon
Yeah.
megas? It's like, but then we just did it, even though, yeah, it was stupid of us, but somehow it worked.
I don't know. Well, also, it's like part of it is like the 8-gym fan games does have a more broader audience than the typical Eevee Expo fan game, I guess. But in my opinion,
definitely.
it also has less of a power to like be memorable. It's kind of like people like having those 8-gym like fan games that like I don't want to say time wasters, but like to fill up their time and it doesn't stick with them as much. It's just like I want a Pokemon experience. This is one that I can slot in, and it's not like it doesn't feel any different or special compared to any other ones they pick up.
Yeah, I feel like there's like less room to stand out in that respect because you are adopting like the most common kind of archetype for a fan game with like the 8-gym, so you can't change that aspect of it up, so then you're forced to stand out in a different way, which I mean there are a lot of like though I think those games then you're going to like an even more like difficult thing to stand out in terms of like story or graphics or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, I do think that like Shattered Light has around like maybe 35,000 downloads right now after 2.5 years. But I honestly think that like Slowpoke, a game like Slowpoke Shack, is in 2 years gonna have way more people remembering it than like how many people remember Shattered Light right now. I think because a story game like that, which is more short and sweet, is just way more memorable. Because I look at even me who made Shattered Light, I'm thinking like I look at some of the other 8-gym fan games and I just think that they all seem like the same, really, and I don't. So it's just I think there's way they can be way more memorable if they're all just clones, honestly. That we kept saying this joke, me and Voltzion, about all these 8-gym fan games are just Shattered Light clones. So that's maybe a bit
So
selfish,
maybe
but
Shattered Light is the 5-red Leaf Drain clone.
true.
Maybe.
Or Emerald, more so probably.
Well, I guess this may seem a little self-centered, but since I have also made a 8-gym fan game after Shattered Light, I kind of want to ask, is like where Abstract kind of stands with that with you?
Oh, Abstract? Well, I didn't fully play Abstract, but I watched some playthroughs of it. I'm not too into playing fan games recently.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm more just a general. That's what I realized also when we quote unquote retired from fan games is I realized I don't really care too much for Pokemon games. The intrigue for me in Pokemon fan games was mostly just the game development and how it was sort of a gateway into just game development in general. So of course I don't, but to answer your question, I think Abstract is definitely, from what I've heard and seen, is definitely like up there in terms of the 8-gym games that I've seen. I'm not gonna sit here and name more because I don't want to start any drama.
Oh, yeah.
But maybe later.
I mean,
Gotta soften me up first.
Okay.
I've been I've been public about my praise for Abstract, and I think like when I go back to the idea of like the 8-gym fan game having like being more difficult to be like a standout, I look at other aspects of Abstract where it does stand out in terms of the open world, in terms of the story. So I think there are plenty of 8-gym fan games that don't have memorable aspects like that. And they don't have to be they don't have to be open world or have a good story, but just general other outstanding aspects that would make it memorable.
Yeah, but wait, was there actually no like 8-gym fan game this latest jam at all?
Nope.
I'm looking through the list.
I don't believe so.
Huh.
I don't even know if there was a single
There were
like
some
jam was
one-page
pretty
games,
good.
but yeah.
There wasn't even a demo for one.
I mean,
Which is what I was
Covenant
kind of
would have
expecting.
ended up being like a kind of gym format, but obviously
true.
it had its own way about it.
Yes, I don't.
That's like very adjacent to like how like Sun and Moon is, because like there are like the trials are like very much like gym adjacent but not actually gyms.
Yeah.
I guess you could also count
And
Battle
also-
Citadel as having gyms if you wanted to.
You could also say Berserk has gyms. Like, if we
Yeah,
really wanna
I
be
think that's a
nitpicky
little
with
bit
our
more
definition
of
on
a
gym games.
stretch though, yeah.
You say Tower of Ashes has gyms on each floor. The
True.
boss fight or whatever. Yeah, no. I mean, you had like the gem before that. You had what was it? Oh, say Abstract was before that. Was there any other that gem?
Yeah, there was Pokemon Nightmare. That was the weird gym
Was
that
that-
we had two.
Oh, so Nightmare.
Wasn't that a
the-
demo?
Same
The
jam.
jam version of that was a demo that I had, I believe, 3 gyms.
Yeah.
I can speak.
Mhm.
And then had a final version that had 8.
That's right. Oh, and that. Oh my god, that jam actually had a lot of good games like Petra Mandala, also Tales of. Damn, those were all bangers. Not
Yeah.
saying that the other gem, the latest gem, didn't have any bangers, but
Mm.
I'm just going through the list right now. There's a lot of good ones.
This jam
Okay.
also had a lot of good ones. I mean,
Yeah, I
I'm not
think
gonna
the latest
mention
jam
one
was
of
my
them, but-
favorite.
Star in the Desert, Slowpoke Shack.
Covenant, Berserk, Tower of Ashes.
I haven't played Covenant. I really like Samsara. I know I'm the only one who has that in my top couple, but it's up there for me.
All these games are 6 months old. Seriously, we need a new jam soon.
It's so wild that, like, it's already been so long since that last jam. Like, it feels like it just ended like a month ago.
What?
The,
Speak for yourself.
Not for me. Yeah.
It feels like that for me.
This last month for me has
Right.
felt like 6 months.
I think this has been officially the longest span of time that I have not released a fan game. Well, maybe, because the
Congratulations. You
jam
should be proud of
technically
that.
doesn't end yet, but... Whenever Winter Jam normally ends, so in March, I think that will be my officially longest span.
right. No, but there will be a jam, hopefully. Those Eevee Expo guys gotta just pull something together.
Yeah, that crummy Eevee Expo stuff. Screw them.
Fuck all the Eevee Expo staff, especially that one guy who like doesn't actually
Yeah,
like,
that
moderate the
K guy.
website at all. Yeah, I know. Fuck that guy.
What's he even do?
Yeah,
He just
He
plays
just
games.
appears in the videos
solely.
sometimes.
yeah. He just streams games, doesn't actually do any administrative work. Like, what the fuck?
He just reads a little bit of a script when they do presentations, and then just says, alright, that's it. Time to sleep for the next year.
I'm not even the host. I don't even read the script.
That's Chase.
No, but I feel
mean,
like
you
you
were in
show
the
up
first
like
one.
every once in a while. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Well, oh,
You were in the first one, and then you did the video for the applications being open for the last one. I think,
yeah.
and some other stuff.
I have not appeared since.
That's what I was thinking of. No, don't worry, Chase. I
No,
didn't
you're right.
forget about you.
No one forgets about Chase, hot and sexy Chase.
Yeah, can't forget about him.
Okay. Yeah, you just recently posted a video, like, going through... Well, a video compilation of your stream playing through all of your past games.
That's right. I did. That was a stream that I actually did in March of last year. Or April, March or April. And it just took me a while to edit. Or it was just in my Premiere folder for so long. And I figured it wasn't a good enough video to post. But then I decided to just say fuck it and just post it anyways. And I think it has been interesting to look back at all that now again a year later. Even because I realized that I sort of, I don't know, it's weird being in this position where I've now sort of retired from these fan games, and I feel like I sort of put myself in this position where I was underappreciating all the effort that we put into those games, and sort of being like, the fan games, obviously we can't sell them, so we can't monetize them, so they're not really worth anything. But like, looking back at them, like, they are worth so much to me because like they taught me everything I know about game development. And so we me and Voltsion, like about a year ago in January last year, we actually signed a legally binding contract that with our legal signatures saying that we wouldn't work on fan games anymore, so that we could focus on like releasing something on Steam and etc. And I mean, we did keep looking. That's on Steam, and we're working on other stuff. But I'm gonna come out with a little leak. We might not be retired forever, because we have made some changes to our legally binding contract.
Well,
That-
you already had to break it to work on Slowpoke Shack, didn't you?
That was a temporary like thing where,
So how strong is this legal document?
I mean, it's like it is technically a legally binding contract. It's just we would probably never have to use it in the court of law because we wouldn't need to sue. Like, we would have to sue each other. we don't really have any plans on suing each other. So it's just kind of a joke, really, but for the most part, but it's just sort of to show that we were serious about this. What we have decided on now is that, okay, we're gonna have a new deal where once we release another commercial game on Steam, we're gonna be allowed one fan game, and then we can release a new fan game, and then we can release another commercial game, and then we're allowed another fan game. So that's the deal going forward. So next time we release something commercial on Steam, you know what we're working on next.
Pivot 2.
Actually, you don't know. Nope.
Pivot 3.
Maybe.
Oh, you heard it here, folks.
That's a leak. Like a Farfetch leak.
Farfetch Story 2.
Because he's in the...
I mean, Farfetch
yeah.
Story
I see
2
what
has
you did there.
been in the works for a while.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think that's
Yeah,
much of a
maybe
leak.
ENLS is on the team now.
I actually know a lot about Farfetch Story 2. I could leak something. Get it? Leak. Oh, no,
Yeah.
okay, never mind.
No, I got it.
Okay, good. Thank you, Kate. I appreciate it.
No, I also got it. Just
Good.
I got
Alright,
it the
well, I'll
first
just
time
go
he
fuck
made
myself.
the joke. Damn it.
I mean, so did I.
It's not a competition. It's a dumb joke.
No,
Oh.
I have to win, Tom. You don't understand.
Okay, what if we just do this again and you guys all just laugh at the same time? So let's see. So if I just go, what did I say? I said, I'm on the Farfetch story team actually, so and I have access to the GitHub repository. So I could actually give you guys a leak.
Oh,
Farfetch-
Ah,
I
that's
get
so
it.
clever.
There you
You're
go.
so smart.
What are you, a
ENLS.
2-year-old? Why do you need this entertainment?
I appreciate that. Oh well. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways,
it is interesting to like. I don't know. I like what I'm kind of understanding from you, Endless, is that like because of how you learned a lot of like the practices of game development through Pokemon fan games, it's kind of like, I don't know, maybe almost like a nostalgia thing that you like just don't want to give up because you enjoy like doing it so much. Is that kind of how you feel?
I mean, absolutely. It's like, I think mostly recently when I was finishing the edit for that video, looking back at all my games that I was looking at, for example, the First Wish project, and it just being unfinished. And it just kind of sucks to have those unfinished projects that could be so good. So it's all kind of, obviously we did enjoy making fan games, and we probably will never stop wanting to make fan games.
I get that.
It was sort of it wasn't, we didn't retire from fan games because we didn't like making fan games anymore. It was just because we just wanted to force ourselves to sort of get out of there so that we could work on Steam games that are more quote unquote worth it, you know.
Or like move out of your comfort zone to like push yourself. But if
Absolutely.
you stayed in the same bubble, you wouldn't be able to otherwise.
Yeah, because we would like start on something in Unity, God forbid Unity, don't use that anymore. But we go Godot now. But when we would like try to do some stuff in Unity every now and then, but like every jam comes around and we just gotta make a fan game again. Not that it was a burden to make those fan games, but you know, we kind of just then forgot about those Unity games, and it just, the fan games we just had at one point we were working on a new version of Shattered Light, we were working on Pivot updates, we were working on First Wish, and we were working on all these updates, and we had all these projects, and it was just overwhelming. We were gonna work on the Last Wish 3 even, but that never happened because thankfully we got out of there. But like there's just so many projects that we just never would have had time to work on anything like commercial. So that's pretty much it. But so definitely we still want to make fan games, and that's something we've realized recently also. To answer your question.
Well, I guess I know you said you haven't played many fan games, and you mainly watch them, but like, when are the main fan games that come to mind, I guess, for like inspiration, or that like really stand out in your mind? It's like, I really like these.
Oh, that one I gotta think about a little bit. I mean, obviously, if I'm thinking about early on, it's definitely like, obviously I got into fan games through Thundaga, and obviously he was working on Splice and he was working on Bushido, and those games were obviously a big inspiration. And then let me just take a look. What were the games coming out at the time?
That's what, like summer 2020-ish?
Yeah. There were some good games.
That was like
Was
a little bit
Splash
after like
2020?
the first demo of like Infinity came out, I think. I don't know if that was
It's
like
crazy how big that jam was. The Relic Castle Game Jam
the
6 and
COVID
then
jams were crazy.
Winter Jam 2.
Yes, the
Uh,
summer 2020 jam.
what? I'm out of the loop here.
Well, there was a
Yeah,
certain
I'm
just
guessing
game
that's
released
when
by a
Traps
certain
came
someone
out.
from that jam. Um,
yeah, there was a game that jam.
Oh, I see how it is. I I did not release anything for that jam because I was sort of trapped just working on a bunch of other projects, trying to figure out and learn essentials. But I did release my first game in the Winter Jam after, so in
Yeah, I should
2021.
have done that, but you know.
Yeah, but we all learn, right?
that's what's
Yeah.
important.
Yeah, I don't
I
think you
also
should
look
ever
back
really
now.
regret a game.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you can regret a game, but also still think that you have learned something from it.
Yeah.
Mm.
oh well, I mean, definitely.
Not regret making it, but maybe regret releasing it. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't regret releasing it. I more regret that I had to release it. That's where I stand.
Yeah.
Was somebody making you release it?
Well, no, the like having to release it in order to improve that I couldn't get to the point I am today without other help. But
Oh,
I don't want to get into
yeah.
this. This is the ENLS episode.
Okay.
But
But that's how everyone is. Everyone
No,
starts
but
from zero.
I was
Everyone poops their diaper.
yeah, I was talking about this in that video that I released that I released Bill's Experiments, and that was my first game that I released, and I got a lot of honest feedback on it. And that hurt a lot because, you know, in my eyes, it was a pretty good game because it was my first game. And I was pretty proud of it. But like obviously people are going to give honest feedback and I wasn't ready for that. So I was like I was really just hurt by that and I wanted to delete the game off the website and stuff. But you know, it's good to be reminded that like it's not the project or it's not you that failed, it's the project that failed initially. Like you
Mm.
learned something from it, so you won. Uh, so
Exactly. And now people don't remember Bill's experiments. They remember Keep Looking. They remember Shattered Light. They remember Pivot.
yeah, no one remembers Space Trainers, which was the most recent fan game. But
Oh,
I remember
I mean,
Space
we remember.
Trainers.
We remember Space Trainers. It was just not popular, I guess.
Space Trainers was good,
yeah,
but I think endless means like the wider public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because Space Trainers was the most recent fan game that we made, and not a lot of people played it. So I think that's what made us realize that we fell off. So we just kind of left.
I don't think you fell off. It's just the thing of what you. This is something I've kind of realized. What you create does not always align with what the general populace is looking for at that moment. And that doesn't
Right.
mean, like, you're gonna forever be in the dumps, because in that, if I viewed myself in that lens with Hito, games that would not have been made after that would have, like, I would not have joined Abstract, and that project never would have happened. I never would have made Berserk, and just a bunch of other stuff. So it's not a thing of, like, falling off, it's more of just, like, a,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I definitely like I was looking through Last Wish 1 that we made in like 2021. And you can see in the video that I just kind of hate that game. I was going through it, I was explaining it like it was just the worst thing I've ever seen. But then like Last Wish 2 is one of our best fan games that we've released. And so, like, obviously, Last Wish 2 couldn't have existed without Last Wish 1, which was supposed to be made in a week. But, it's just, like, definitely, yeah, no, I get where you're coming from with that, like, but in terms of Space Trainers, I think, well, maybe we just got a bit greedy with the download numbers that we were used to with Pivot and like Last Fish 2 and Shattered Light. For that, that was like pretty big numbers because that was like the first of the Gen 8 National Dex games. So, but I don't know. I'm still very proud of Space Trainers. I don't think we necessarily
definitely.
fell off. I just think
Space
Space
Trainers
Trainers
is
is
like
underrated.
It's so polished.
It's an indie game in its own respect.
Yeah, I did kind of describe it as an expanded tech demo because it has a lot of fancy features, but it's not very long. It's more so kind of just a little self-contained little,
I think that's very
demo story.
like a very fair like way to classify the game as well.
Yeah. We were just kind of trying to experiment with a lot of the stuff because we had made basically every kind of fan game at that point. And so we didn't really know how to one-up ourselves anymore.
I mean, not every kind. There's still the first-person shooter genre.
Oh yeah.
Yes, let's
We
make
need
an
to get on that.
FPS in Essentials.
RPG Maker. Yeah.
Add a gun to keep looking and you'll have that sorted.
Well, but that's not RPG Maker.
Right.
That's true. That is Godot. I've just come on here to preach about Godot, by the way. Everyone should switch to Godot. And I know
Yeah, but Godot
Marino and
requires
Nuri
coding.
Yuri is working on like a Essentials thing or a Pokemon thing for Godot, which is awesome because I hope that it'll get a lot of people into Godot, and then that can be a gateway to like making commercial games.
Yeah.
Because it's really fun to not be limited to just Pokemon stuff.
Also, like, Godot isn't Python, which is like Ruby, but just easier in every way, shape, and form.
I do like Ruby, but GDScript also is actually, I don't know which one I prefer, but GDScript is pretty it's okay. It's easy enough to learn. It's not like Java.
No.
So, but yeah.
I guess a question for you, ENLS, because you've done what I think a lot of people kind of aim to do, what their big goal is. You started from Pokemon fan games, but since then you've now released or worked on a completely independent indie game and had it released on Steam, which is a pretty big deal. Do you have any tips for other people who might be dreaming of one day achieving the same thing?
I think, the harsh truth is if you're working on Pokemon Essentials right now or PSDK or anything like that, I think you need to let go or just say at some point that, because what we said when we made Ethos, which was in 2021, the summer of 2021, we said this is going to be our last game before we switch to like commercial games. And that obviously didn't happen in 2021. We said it a bunch of times after that this is going to be our last game. But I think at some point you just have to decide that now is the time for you to switch. Because otherwise you'll just be stuck in fangame hell, as we like to call it. And you're just gonna... It's hard. The other thing is, you could definitely try making fangames still, but like in another engine like Godot. Because that, making commercial games in RPG Maker is possible, but it's very limiting. And obviously you wouldn't have Essentials. You can use Essentials. You'd have to use base RPG Maker. So I think mostly those are the two things that I recommend. It's just, first of all, if you want to keep making fan games for a bit, try checking out a different engine. Check out some tutorials. and then maybe try making a little fan game thing, like a Pokemon game or whatever in that engine, or any type of game, and then once you think you're ready to switch, you just have to drop all fan game projects that you may be working on, which is the harsh truth of that, but that's what we did, and it actually worked for a bit.
I think also, well, obviously, like I'm not the massive devs here that anybody else is like in this podcast, but I think like a way to think about it is a lot of these people have like these ideas like swirling around in their head, and like here's like a really cool idea of like a game that I want to make. And a lot of people I think just say, okay, I'm gonna make a fan game out of this idea, when it might not necessarily make the most sense to make a fan game out of this idea. Like, yeah, if you're gonna like say, I don't know, I want to make a fan game based on the Kanto region, then that is inherently going to be a fan game, and it's going to be about Pokemon. But if you have like a really cool idea, does the game have to like use the Pokemon battle mechanic as its form of gameplay? I would say probably not, unless it makes sense to. And if it doesn't make sense to use the Pokemon gameplay or Pokemon like battle mechanic, then that is an idea where you should be exploring, not a fan game, I feel like.
Okay, but then I actually have I will follow up question for that then for you, Cade.
Okay.
What do you think about Pivot in that instance? Like, because Pivot was made as it's sort of just a multiplayer, like a MOBA type thing, but in essentials. But like, it didn't need to have Pokemon elements in it, but it did, and I think that's probably what makes it unique, other than just an arena game.
You do make a good point, because it's like, from that perspective, I would think like, I don't know, it's definitely a lot easier to sell, especially to the community that's gonna play it as like having Pokemon characters, compared to like, I don't know, characters that you would make yourself. And I think like the way I would think about that then is, do I want to like Pokemon and like even like creatures themselves provide you like characters that are already there, already kind of have their own like personalities that you can just take from. And in a game like Pivot, you aren't really like adding to that personality type thing, whereas like if you were to make your own characters and you didn't want to add any personality, it would just be sword person or a magic person or like whatever. So I think like Pokemon allows you to like they inherently have a little bit more like personality kind of, but like I also think like, yeah, a game like Pivot does not need Pokemon at all.
Well, but also like me and Eevee were talking about this last episode, this kind of point, because if you haven't watched it, the last episode was about like, why do people look down on fan games and like fan creations. And it's like, we brought up like a point why people do make fan creations over original stuff is like, at least at the beginning, it's like a lot easier to like get people to play it or like watch it or whatever, because it already has kind of like a pre-established fan base. Compared to if you do have completely original characters, it is a lot harder to like sell people on that.
For sure.
100%. I'm not trying to be out here like bashing fan games at all. Like, my entire YouTube channel is me playing fan games. I enjoy doing that, but like I think also like it has to like it's up to the dev and individually, and as Endless is talking about, it is like, I can definitely understand how it is like hard to make that jump. So I think like there's different ways of thinking that you could use to where it would make sense to like jump ship, I guess, and make your own like original game.
Yeah, because I also think that like, honestly, if we had named Space Trainers instead Pokemon Space Trainers, it probably would have gotten more downloads. Because and that's the same thing with Pivot. I think if it was called Pokemon Pivot, like a lot of people did call it that, but that's not what it was called. But then it probably would have gotten more downloads. And I think it sucks that in this sort of industry, if you want to actually have people play your game, you almost need to have Pokemon in the title. I know not a lot of people played Ultralight when it came out, even though it's a banger of a game. And it sucks that not a lot of people played it, because they probably didn't realize that it was a Pokemon game. Even though it's on a Pokemon fan game website, now an indie game website, just for clarity. Eevee Expo is not a Pokemon fan game website, it's a indie game website.
But it does have Eevee in the name, which totally isn't Pokemon.
Eevee is the Blender render engine.
What about the Eevee tail?
That's just
That's just a coincidence.
That's just a logo.
Yeah.
It's not a tail. It's just a logo.
Well, yeah,
Has
What are
nothing
you
to do with
talking
it.
about, Andy?
An Eevee.
it's
or
a logo
tail
that
or
may or may
anything.
not resemble a tail of anything.
Yeah, it's just a furry community.
I don't know what's better.
I think there's a lot of overlap with Pokemon but yeah.
And what?
No, we're not finishing
Well, I
this.
just think
We're
there's a
no-
lot of
no.
overlap with the
Hold
Pokemon
on.
community
No.
and the furry community.
Okay.
I mean, our admin
I mean,
is
you're
called
not
Cat.
wrong.
There's two admins. One is called Cat. The other is just a bunch of letters. So
Yeah, wonder who that guy is.
Yeah, ENLS. Who is that guy?
I know, it sounds like a loser
it's-
though.
you know
I've
what's
got a question
crazy?
for you,
When-
Endless. What does Endless
Okay.
mean?
Endless. That's a great question. When I, like in 2018 or 19, I needed a new username on Minecraft, and I wanted something that was 4 characters because I thought that was cool. And so I looked at like this website that was like Name MC or something, where you could look up like available usernames. And I saw all these 4-letter usernames, and none of them like struck out to me. But then I realized like I have 4 names in my full name. I wonder if all my if I just put my initials together, if that is available, and it was. So ENLS was previously. I've changed my name since, but it was previously just my full name's initials. And I just said ENLS. I'm ENLS. That's what I said. And then randomly on a Minecraft server, someone just called me Endless, and I was just like, I like that. Endless. So I just stuck with that. So actually, I did not come up with the idea that I was going to be pronounced Endless. That was just some random guy on a Minecraft server.
Oh.
So that's basically what it means. But now it means I make endless amount of games or something.
There you go.
Probably. Yeah. Full circle.
See.
What does your name mean, Tom?
My name. Well, I used to call myself Tom for Tom.
Yeah.
Because I was
What?
like 3 years old and I needed to make a username for Adventure Quest for MMORPG, and I was like, brother, I can't think of a name. And it's like, think of your own name. And I'm like, I can't. I'm a 3-year-old. It's like, okay, just use Tom for Tom. I'm like, okay, Tom for Tom. And then at some point I needed to change it, and there was a moderator on that MMORPG called Tomix. I was like, Tomix is fucking cool. I'm stealing that name. So I changed from Tom for Tom to Tomix9 Tomix.
Okay, but I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
Why is it that when I go on YouTube and I search Tomix9 Tomix, there's another channel that pops up
Well, I think you know the answer for that.
from 10 years ago? Which is the same exact
because it's from
username
10 years ago.
and oh,
Oh,
Jesus.
Minecraft The Chosen Ones?
yeah.
Oh,
What?
What?
Eevee just
Huh?
dropped in,
Okay.
said something inaudible.
I just heard, do
I-
you like pickles?
I think that.
I
For
thought it was-
podcast listeners, because Eevee wasn't recording himself. Thank you, Eevee.
Well, I guess you're using my audio now.
I thought he said, "Do you like testicles?" I was like,
I
really
like
taken aback.
pickles. I don't. I'm still taken aback. I don't.
Is Eevee intoxicated?
That is possible.
That's true. That's what you have to answer in the comments today, actually. How many drinks has Eevee had as of this moment?
Oh, he's.
You have zero context as to where Eevee is, by the way.
I mean, I think he's talking
Yeah.
about it publicly.
Oh, maybe he has.
It's possible.
Anyways, so I guess, do you like pickles? Assuming that was his question.
Sometimes.
All
It depends
right.
where I put them.
Yeah, going back to
occasionally.
previous question I asked, just so it doesn't get drowned out and I forget it. Fan game, like favorite fan games or fan games that inspire you?
Right. Okay. So obviously, one of the big ones early on was Bushido. Like with the mid-battle
Oh, right, you
dialogue
said
and
that.
everything. And that was like really cool. And it was just really cool to be a part of those streams when Cam Thundaga streamed the development of those, like Splice and Bushido. That was just a very special thing to be a part of. And the fact that Bushido really popped off, it was really cool. And then in recent years, I took a lot of inspiration from some of Kenny's games, like Farfetch Story and Little Bird Researchers, because some of the way he tells those like stories is really, really cool, I guess. I don't know how else to describe it. He does it really well. And let's see, let me think. There's just so many good ones.
Yeah, no, sorry. I just remembered that you did partially answer the question, and I just forgot.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
that's
I
my
didn't
bad.
fully. I wasn't prepared for the question, honestly. So,
I mean, that's fair.
but because I mean, there was also like if I'm thinking about inspiration for games like Shattered Light, there isn't really any other than the mainline games. That was honestly the only inspiration for that game. And like people in the Discord and on the forum complaining about needing full national Dex games. And I mean, just I'm mostly taking inspiration from just developers as a whole, because I'll just really like a lot of the games that a lot of developers. So like I mentioned Kenny and Cam, and like I don't know. That's a weird question, honestly, for me to answer, because I don't know where, honestly, if it's just kind of come from everywhere. Like I could say that some of the games that we made have been like an amalgamation of everyone, like inspiration from everyone who's made games in the jams. Probably. Because not only have we been learning from our own mistakes, but we've seen a lot of like the mistakes that other devs have made in their games for jams and stuff. And if we are able to see what is wrong with another person's game, we should, in theory, be able to, fix that ourselves for our own game. So I think just in general, analyzing other people's games, like all of them, I can't really think of any one or two like games in specific that in recent years have been inspiring. So I don't know if that's
fair.
really a satisfying answer, but
Yeah. I mean, it's the truth.
that's what I got.
Alright, now I have another really serious question for you.
Okay.
Is it
I'm so
gay to
prepared.
play Pokemon fan games or ROM hacks?
Hmm. Now this is interesting because I don't play too many of them. I have played them. I have been gay, or I mean, I have. Or so let me rephrase that. I'm a little okay. I'm actually taking this question so seriously right now. You don't understand. I'm really thinking. That depends how gay the games are, honestly. Give me a game.
Slowpoke Shack.
Let me think. Oh.
Gay.
Berserk.
No, not gay.
Fair. Oh, what was the game Tom?
Pokemon Fairies.
Oh, that's lesbian. It's just pink. I don't know. Is that wrong to say? No.
No, I was just trying to think of games.
The looker.
That...
That's like more bi. I would say it's like bisexual game.
Okay.
Is
Is this
that
gonna be our new Smash or Pass for like stuff?
This
Just
is
like
a new segment. Just determining the
strays.
sexuality of games.
Fan game.
How gay is this game?
What about Shattered Light? I feel like Shattered Light is pretty straight.
No, you're
I can
right.
see that.
Yeah, I agree
You're
with
right.
that.
Abstract feels pretty gay.
Abstract's
Actually-
definitely.
Are you sure?
A lot of the Fakemon design feel very.
That
there,
alone.
there are aspects that are definitely gay, but I think there are also some aspects that like when I see an 8-gym game, I have to be convinced that it's not straight. Basically, I assume that it's straight.
But what about like Super Scientist Mountain?
Oh, I
One of
haven't
those
played
games.
that.
Or Super Sludgemon Island.
I don't know what that would be. That's like
Triple Grandma.
those games are.
Those
just on another
are-
level.
Those are
Ace? I don't know.
definitely. Yeah.
No, I think they're just on drugs, from what I remember.
Yeah.
From them. Their sexuality
Yeah.
is drugs.
Ooh, Pokemon Drug Wars.
That would definitely
Also
be
drug
drugs.
sexual.
Regimeth.
Where other. Oh, not Pokemon Misty Orange Edition. That's a throwback.
Yeah, well, that's
That's-
just Guna.
I feel like that has
that's a
to be
lesbian game.
straight. Really?
Yeah.
What makes it lesbian and not straight?
The vibes. I don't. What makes
I don't-
any
I
of
don't know
these
if you
games
can-
gay or straight?
I don't know if you can assign a sexuality to that game. Like, I agree with Tom. Like, that's just the Gooner game. Like,
Okay, it's like pan. Bisexual probably.
Sure.
I'd say.
Sure. Anyways, that was that segment of what is this fan game sexuality?
Let's
Andy,
go.
I'm not sure how you like didn't
are
expect
not
that
doing that
question
again.
to devolve into some bullshit.
I did not think it was gonna go
I
there,
appreciate it.
but you know.
I think it was a good segment.
I think it was a good
You
segment,
guys
too.
should keep doing it every episode.
I wonder if anyone's going to be pissed with what we said about their fan game.
Wait, who?
I don't know, just someone.
I
Maybe
mean,
Armin will be like, how dare you say my game about hot fairies is lesbian.
Right.
we're
Either
still
that
not
or Tom's gonna
that.
get new
That doesn't mean
artwork.
that
It's one or
that's
the
what it
other.
is.
I think all of the games are either gay or straight or bi or ace, whatever. All of them are all of them, depending on who's playing them. Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to make a message here. I don't know where it was going.
Well,
I
because
was just trying to.
after the moment of last podcast episode where we talked, me and Eevee basically like took the piss out of someone for saying like I'm not homophobic, but I want to give fan games a try.
Yeah.
But like that kind of devolved into because Eevee was then posting that question on social media, which then prompted me to ask you. But I saw some people was like, and even in the comment section of the short of that, it's like, well, all the fan games I've played were made by people in the LGBTQ, and I'm like,
Yeah,
Okay.
there's been a lot of people that we've seen talk shit about the Eevee Expo Discord. They don't want to join the Discord because of the icon, which is a pride flag. Just people. "Oh, I'm not gonna join this woke ass Discord.
I think
I'm
we
staying
want
on the
them."
forum." Yeah, exactly. We want them.
Yeah.
So that's completely fine by us.
Yeah.
It's just crazy that people will have that opinion, but that's just how they be.
Yeah. Anyways, to move back onto like your games and off of whatever this has become, I'm gonna pull up Eevee Expo to see your games, but I still can't access it.
You can pull up a video
I
and just look at the thumbnail.
what fan game do you want to ask about? Do you have one in mind?
Well, honestly, no, because that's why I was
Wait,
putting
you
up
could
a
go on
list,
my
'cause I
website.
honestly don't play
yeah,
any games.
just go
Oh,
on.
sure. I can go on your website.
ENLS.eu.
Oh, something I
But,
do want to ask
talking
about,
about-
actually.
Okay.
Sorry, 'cause I'm giving you time to pull it up.
Yeah.
What was like the original like kind of inspiration behind like the pre-looped library? Because that has kind of turned into just like a massive thing. I think kind of like the default resource for like anyone who's trying to put different music in their game, especially if that's coming from a Pokemon game. Like where and like how did that all start?
I think there's probably a Thundaga VOD that you can find, like back in early 2021, where you can just see me going, what if there was a resource that had just all the Pokemon music pre-looped, was basically what I said. And then Cam just went, oh, that would be super cool. And I was like, I mean, it doesn't exist, but I could just make it exist. I know how to loop music. And so I just started with like FRLG music and then HCSS, and then Cam started helping. We got Cracker Watch started helping. Some other people started helping. Like it just became a whole thing. I've had a bunch of people in DMs who want to help out and who have helped out, adding new stuff to the resource. And now I don't know how many albums we have right now. Like
There's so many.
2, 3, 4, 5. Like at least
28.
like 28, yeah. So that's been a whole thing. I mean, it was just sort of a thing that I felt like I needed, and so I just made it. And because I just realized that some people are probably going to find this useful, and then a lot of people found it useful. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely open for like anyone to just DM me, and if they want to contribute and like loop an album or something. And it could be whatever. If you want to make Persona music, there's Final Fantasy music in here. There's Ocarina of Time. Like it doesn't have to be just Pokemon. If you want to just loop something, reach out. You can add it to the website. Add you to the credits.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a community resource for anyone to use. And I've tried to make it as convenient as possible with the website to just be able to listen to them there and just download them or download the whole album if you want. So.
Yeah, speaking of like websites and me not being able to look at your games because the website's down. If you can't answer this question, that's fine. But I felt like it could be a nice opportunity to like give people answers because I know you get this question a lot. about the website being down. If you can give any context for like why that's been down for so long, if you can give a timetable of like maybe when you're hoping for it to be up again, or like any kind of information you can give regarding that.
Right. So, for those that are not aware, the EeveeExpo.com forum website has been like down for like about 40% of people since about November now. It's been so long. And that was actually caused by the web host that we were using had someone who had like a DDoS attack against the server that we are sharing, that Eevee Expo is sharing with some other, customer of that same web host. I guess we technically don't know if the DDoS was targeted against Eevee Expo or just some other ones, but they didn't specify that. It was just against the server. But I'm assuming it wasn't against Eevee Expo. But yeah, so then what they did is obviously they started blocking a lot of IP addresses that were trying to connect to the website. And so that's why there's like a lot of people that can't access. And so there's a lot of IP addresses that are on this block list. And I've like talked to the web host a lot now about this, and we've found out that the only way to, quote unquote, resolve this is for me to send them a list of IP addresses for them to unblock. And that's like a hassle, because then I gotta go collect the IP addresses from everyone who is struggling to get access, and I gotta send it to the web host, and that'll be a continuous process.
And then also, to some degree, is like an invasion of privacy almost, if like gathering a bunch of people you don't know and their like IP addresses.
So I'm thinking of just switching hosts right now, or asking them to put me on like, I don't know, a different server, and then so they can unblock the IP address. But if I want to switch hosts, that's going to be obviously costly, so I'm not going to be able to do it right now, but I'll do it, when I can, if I need to. I've been still talking to them, seeing if there's anything we can do. Because that has been the main reason we haven't been able to do the Eevee Expo Winter Game Jam yet, is because of this web host issue. Is because like it's not really worth it to do it when almost half the users can't even access the website. So it's been like something that we've been struggling with, and now we're also working on the Eevee Expo presentation that should come out soon, hopefully. And so there's just a lot of stuff that we're juggling, and but I'm gonna imagine that if we get a new web host or we get it resolved, sometime in February it's gonna be back up like fully. I can assure that. That's what I will say.
Okay.
Hopefully in like the next 2 weeks, but we'll see. That's all I can say about that. We're working on it.
That was a good response, I think.
I mean,
I think I even understand it a little bit better than I did before.
It's literally I mean, that's what's happening, that's what's going on, and
yeah, Cade knows.
It's like it's been very frustrating, because I don't know, I'm not the person interacting with the web host, but like it seems very frustrating that they I mean, I understand that they wanted to figure out their DDoS attack, but also at the same time, it's very annoying that this has affected a large amount of a large portion of the user base of Eevee Expo, and because of that, we feel like, I don't know, our community has suffered from something that is most likely not our fault, and we don't really have a ton of control over
and especially situation. Because the web host like expects me to be able to just give them a list, because I could give them a list of every user that's signed up to Eevee Expo. That would be an invasion of privacy, but also that would be like a list of, I don't know how many users, like 60,000 users, or something like that. And or I could just like do another Google Forms thing and ask people to consent to me sending their IP address or whatever to the web host for it to be resolved. So only people who are actually struggling would need to sign up for that. But it would be like if someone misses that and they still have an issue in like a couple of weeks, then I would have to get their IP address again and like continuously keeps updating the web host with these new IP addresses. And it's just a horrible middleman process that's just very annoying.
And it would also just be impossible for just like random Joes coming to download a fan game. The website doesn't work, they have no idea why the link doesn't work, they have no idea who to contact because they're not a regular on Eevee Expo.
Well,
Yeah.
the people who aren't regulars on Eevee Expo have a lot higher chance to be able to access the website.
Yeah. Because the
Really?
reason, you
Yeah.
know, if you obviously when they were getting DDoSed, they were blocking the IPs that were trying to access the server while they were being DDoSed, and then you could have some Eevee Expo users like coming in as collateral because they don't know which IP addresses are coming from the DDoS and which ones are just normal users. And so if you just have new users who weren't there during the DDoS, they're not going to be affected because they wouldn't have been blocked. Is my understanding. So I think maybe the best course of action is just to get a new web host, but that's also a lot of work. And but we'll see. I'm sure we'll have it working in a couple of weeks.
It will get figured out.
Yeah.
Yeah, another thing I kind of want to ask you about is because you were always very prevalent in the community, but like you really stepped up and are now the owner of Eevee Expo, specifically when Relic Castle got shut down. Obviously, this was almost a year ago now.
Yeah. That was in March?
That was in March.
'Cause we
yeah.
went all of April without the forum. I think the way that happened was, obviously I was just a forum moderator for Relic Castle before the takedown, and I was also video editing for Eevee Expo when it was just a presentation thing. And so I was sort of the only person who was on both things. And when Relic Castle was taken down, Marin said that he would be done and just would step down from being an owner. And it wasn't like anyone decided, oh, okay, well, ENLS is going to be the new guy or whatever. It was sort of just, I had already gotten the eeveeexpo.com domain for purposes for the presentation. And that was like right before Relic Castle was taken down. So I just kind of got this idea after, you know, the takedown and Martin stepped down, that like we could possibly try and launch it again, but like merge with the Eevee Expo guys and just have a new branding completely, but it's sort of the same forum. And then we just got all together, both of the teams. It was a huge meeting and we figured it all out. It was like I don't know how long that meeting was.
I feel like that meeting was like 4 or 5 hours at least.
Yeah, it was a long meeting, and we just basically figured out all about transferring like the databases. I shouldn't be saying this out loud, but transferring all the databases and stuff from Relic Castle to Eevee Expo. And that was like something that we were gonna do, and then we were gonna figure out like what to do about the Discord because we had to rebrand it. And it was a crazy time, but we wanted to do it as fast as possible because it was a scary time for a lot of fan game developers. Like we didn't know. Like we were setting up those resource spreadsheets and everything to archive everything, and people were thinking about making their own forums. And so like there was at some point we just said, we are working on stuff, just be patient. And so then it just sort of just came about because I knew my way around being an admin and doing like web development stuff, and I sort of was just the thing that tied the two groups together. And so I sort of just stepped up, and that's how I actually don't, like, I guess I consider myself the owner, but I think I'm just as much owner as Kat. I think we are sort of co-owners. I think as a whole, maybe people consider me the owner and Kat just like the administrator of the forum, because that's mostly how it is. But I think, yeah, all in all, that's just it's sort of the same thing as it was before. We just have merged pretty much, and so that's how it happened.
Yeah, like when migrating to like Eevee Expo, was there any like part of Relic Castle that like you knew you wanted to like keep over from how it was before? And was there anything like you knew you wanted to change?
There were definitely things
there
we
was
knew we
obviously
wanted to change.
Yeah, there was a lot of discussion about, for example, all of the attachments and stuff on the old forum, because we decided we wanted to keep all the posts because it would be very annoying for people to make all their posts and all their resources again when we technically had that data still there, but we didn't know which of those posts were the cause of the takedown. So it was kind of scary. So we decided on the middle ground where we'd keep all the posts and the users and everything, but get rid of all the attachments. So all the images and videos and stuff that could be the cause of the copyright, takedown. And then just to make it easy for everyone, we decided to keep all the users, so people only have to click the forgot your password thing or whatever, because we couldn't technically move over the passwords. That would be pretty bad. So all the users there would just have to create new passwords, and everything was basically the same. It was mostly just the branding was changed, and then we removed the word Pokemon and the words fan games from basically everywhere on the website. We removed essentials from the main homepage as a category. And so eeveeexpo.com/essentials now just takes you to the resource, because it's now a resource rather than its own like section, because we didn't want it to be like prevalent in Eevee Expo. We kind of just wanted it to be like a small part of it, because I think we had a long discussion about Eevee Expo should be just or it should be described as just an indie game forum rather than a Pokemon fan game community, since I think we just all got kind of scared from that DMCA takedown, and so we wanted to try and avoid these buzzwords like Pokemon and fan game and fan made and stuff like that. So I don't know, like we still don't know technically what exactly was the cause of what was the reason it got taken down, but we've taken some measures to hopefully mitigate the risk in the future. So that was mainly the things that we were focusing on, is trying to help make people feel at home, like it was the same thing, but then also get rid of all the references to the things that might DMCA us again, because that was a real it was a risk setting up this whole forum. We were not sure how long it would stay up. We just did it because we felt like we needed to, and we were like, if this stays up for 2 days, So be it. We'll make another.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Well, I guess to go on to like some lighter topics. Well, unless I know I've been asking a lot of questions. Do Tom or Kate have anything to ask?
I'm good.
Okay.
I think Cade does not have any questions either.
Okay. Yeah, like,
Kate can't come to the phone right now.
you have like, what would it take for like a fan game like nowadays to like attract you and be like, ooh, I'm gonna play that? Like specific things you look for or care about.
I think as long as it's if it's like long, I'm not too into it. It depends on what kind of long. I mean, for a jam, it shouldn't, like, if it's a long thing like jam game, I'm not playing it because I don't think it's. I guess it depends on your definition of long. Like, if it is just like a long story-based game for a jam, I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it. Probably, for my personal preference, at least. I think, for example, the what was it called? The one that Marino made recently for a jam, the triple
The
Triad Master.
Triad Master. Yeah, that one I really liked. It was, it was like sort of a whole Kanto adventure, but like it was, very unique. Obviously, I like that one. I think it needs to mostly be unique. I'm kind of tired of Pokemon battling, just the default Pokemon battling. Tower of Ashes, for instance, had a unique twist on the Pokemon battling stuff. And so that helped a little bit, but I think if it's just unique enough and it's just like, if it just has enough stuff that just doesn't just make it like a Pokemon battling simulator. I think for me, it's like the further you are away from just a battle simulator, the better. Because I guess I'm just not too into Pokemon battling. But I think that's all it takes really, is just make something unique that hasn't really been done before. And that's pretty much all it takes for me to be interested.
I would say that's a pretty low bar, but then I remembered like the normal like Pokemon fan game baseline, and I went, never mind.
Yeah. No, I like there's been like some pretty unique thing. Let me take a look again at the game jams that have been. See if I see some notable ones. Obviously, you have the very story heavy ones, sort of like obviously Slowpoke Shack and Star in the Desert. So sort of those are like pretty good. You've got like, obviously you have uniqueness in terms of like Five Nights at Eevee's. That was a fun one, but it was just sort of Five Nights at Freddy's. Let's see. And one that is sort of from the Game Jam 9 is Shattered Dimension. I like talking about Shattered Dimension. It's sort of in the middle of being like long but also pretty unique. It's like a more story based game. And I actually think if you can make Shattered Dimension but more kind of short and sweet, I guess,
like more dense, I guess.
Yeah, just fill it. Okay, actually I have another thing to add to my answer, is just add side quests. so easy.
Please.
I mean,
please.
side quests is the best thing to have ever happened in fan games. Like, if I can take a break from the main story and just help some old lady buy like a cake or something, that's awesome. And it really just puts me into the game, and you know, it's just, it really makes it feel like it's dense.
It makes it feel more like real and less like your player was born to only do the main story. Like it allows it allows the player to have more agency. It makes the world feel more real. There's just so many like reasons from like a game design perspective why having side quests is a good thing.
Absolutely. And there's so much you can do, especially if you have a bigger region. There's like in Pokemon in general, you could just have, there's so much you could do. I know in Slowpoke Shack, like I keep talking about Slowpoke Shack, but like mostly for Slowpoke Shack, it was mostly Kenny. I kind of just worked on the music and helped with some scripts. But you know, we had some side quests in there. You had obviously the one where you buy the birthday cake for the kid, Jasper or whatever, his mom. And that is a very cute like side quest, and it's very short. It's very easy to do if you have money, but it adds so much like character to be able to go talk to an NPC, and it doesn't just say some random shit. It actually is like there's an interaction there. So that's a tip that I would have for developers, and something that would make it stand out for me. It's just try to have as much interaction in your NPCs as possible. Not just have them talk, say something. Because that's been done before, and everyone expects to just talk to NPCs and they just say like a one-liner and then you leave. But it can be really helpful to just have something happen. It doesn't need to be a whole side quest where you have to go gather something. Just, you know, have it be like a, maybe even just like a show choices, like a back and forth chatter or something. Just, I don't know. That's like the least you could do. Just have it be more interactable than just a one-liner.
But yeah, Kay, do you have any questions now that you're here?
Well, like I feel like I've kind of peppered in my questions here and there. Like I know Tom and Andy, you guys probably wanted to know more about the whole like Eevee Expo situation. I was already like, I knew a lot of this. So I don't think I like necessarily have one off the top of my head right now. I make one up. You want me to?
What I will say is just, if anyone or anyone listening have a question for me or about Eevee Expo, you could just mention me in the Eevee Expo server or DM me and I'll answer. I answer all the DMs I get, so you know. There's that, if anyone is curious about anything. Or even want help with stuff. I'm super down to help people with development stuff. As much as I can.
Yeah, I guess like because you've made a lot of fan games, more than any of us can count.
Yeah.
I guess like what's one of them that like stands out for you as either the one that you're most proud of or that was the most fun to make?
Okay, so there's two answers. The one that was the most fun to develop was definitely Last Wish 2. When I did that with Voltion and Zaf, Purple Zafray. That was like, I don't know, it was so much fun to just develop that world and turn the the little region that we made in Last Wish 1 into like a post game area almost in Last Wish 2, and just doing all that. We were like almost in a flow state that whole jam. It was I don't really remember, like there's so many things about that jam that was just really, really fun. It was sort of just a very cute and fun game to make, and it kind of shows in the results as well. But I think, like, in terms of the game that I'm most proud of, I think it's probably Pivot. I think it just has to be Pivot. It's like, I don't know how to describe it other than it's just a remarkable game. Like, if I had shown that to, you know, anyone in the Relic Castle community back in like 2019 or 2020, no one would believe it. I'm pretty sure. So I think I just have to say that I'm mostly proud of Pivot, and a lot of the stuff that I was working on for the upcoming update that was supposed to come out, which I showed a little bit in my latest video, like with the Pivot Pass and the single player stuff with the CPUs and all that. So I think that's mostly what I would say I'm mostly proud of. We made that. Pivot was from beginning to end in only 9 days, because we were working on First Wish, and then we pivoted to Pivot. So in the last 9 days. So I just think it's crazy that we managed to make that game.
Yeah.
So that's what I would say.
I guess going off of that, I feel like you're probably the first person. I'm trying to rack my brain if we've had anybody else, but like, what in terms of like you've made a lot of games, but you've also made like a lot of plugins and resources. Is there one of those that like you're the most proud of or most happy with, or one that just like generally stands out to you?
Obviously, I think the one that is the most successful is like the pre-looped music library, but I wouldn't say that that's like a plugin, more so than just a resource. But I would say that one that is very underused and I feel like should be used more is my easy debug terminal, which lets you just run script commands in game with a little debug terminal in runtime, and it doesn't crash the game if you type something wrong, and it doesn't and you can just print stuff into the console, like print a variable and see what it is in real time without having to like make a debug event or anything. And it's just very useful. And since I made that I don't remember what I initially made it for actually, but since I made that, we've used it in every game since, and every project. So it's just insanely useful, and I think everyone needs to use it. So that's what I would say. Is easy debug terminal.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I don't know if you've used it at all.
I've not.
But you should.
I
Nope.
should though, yeah.
Just check it out. There's a video on the resource page, and shows how it can be used. Really recommend it for anyone who is making games. I mean, if you're sort of a beginner, you're just starting out, it may not be necessary. But once you've made a couple games and you're starting to get into script stuff, you should definitely use it. I think anyone who has used it will vouch for me that you should. So
Yeah, another one that I want to like use at some point, the fancy camera plugin. Well,
oh
like
yeah.
when you finally released it is when I stopped making like games in the Pokemon Essentials. So
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't been able to,
I've been
unfortunately.
preaching about that plugin for a while. So I'm not surprised that you're like, Andy wants to use it because he has to listen to me talk about it every week.
Not
It's-
every week.
Only the weeks when I'm here.
It's always fun to see games using that plugin, but what I realized after a while is that people who are like prone to motion sickness don't really like that plugin. So I did add it in the I didn't actually add it to the plugin. I should, but I added an option to Slowpoke Shack. We can go into the options and disable the camera because I didn't realize how many people, like, there was a lot of replies about, how can I disable it or turn down how much it like slows down, because like it was triggering motion sickness. I didn't even think about that, but I just thought it would be nice to separate the camera from the player, because in the base code the camera is like linked to the player no matter what. Like if you're making a cutscene, you're gonna go and you're gonna make your player invisible, and then you're gonna do like a move route or a scroll map. And with this, you don't have to at all. You can just change where the camera is, because the camera is not linked to the player at all. It's just the camera is its own thing that has an event that it is linked to follow. And, by default, it's linked to follow the player event. So that's just how it works. It's just independent now instead of linked to the player. And that just allows for a lot of cool stuff. Like you can write custom code to make the camera go in a circle or like in any pattern you want. Make crazy curves, whatever, if you know the code. Because I think it's very nice. It's just something that we wanted for Space Trainers, and then it just turned into a plugin.
Sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think unless anyone has any other questions, this is a good place to end off.
You guys know what to put in the comments. How many drinks had Eevee had when
Yeah, you got to remember
he
to
asked
include
the
that
pickle
part in your
question?
recording.
We now know the answer
yeah.
to that. Or ENLS doesn't, but Tom, I, and Andy know.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Closest, most accurate guess gets a shout out or something.
This sounds about right.
I don't know. Or like you could also
good to
add
me.
like what kind of alcohol Eevee might be drinking. I don't know.
Yeah, that's an important
I have no
factor.
idea.
Yeah.
But
I'm
yeah,
gonna guess
before
just
you head out, unless is there anything you want to shout out specifically?
not really. Maybe just my YouTube channel, I guess, and EeveeExpo.com when it comes back for everyone. My YouTube channel, I'm gonna start uploading more. I think hopefully me and Voltsion are gonna be starting to upload like devlog videos, which is something that we've been working on. And so we're just gonna be doing like crazy Godot projects. So that's something to look out for. If you like that kind of content. But yeah, and then I stream on Twitch sometimes. So, but that's also on my YouTube page. You can go check that out. That's about it.
Yeah, thank you for taking the time out of your day to join. I know you've been wanting to join the podcast for a little bit now.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here. It was fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, thank you everybody for watching. We'll see you next week with... We'll have probably some topic related to Valentine's Day.
Really?
It's Valentine's Day.
Oh, I might just have to be absent next week.
I might also have to be
what a
absent next week.
coincidence.
Oh?
I might already be
Uh-oh.
absent next week.
I just mean because
Oh,
I don't want to talk about Valentine's Day.
Oh.
But
That's fair.
Right. Oh, you don't have a Valentine? I thought that was
No,
what you
I'm
meant.
living by myself, alone.
Sounds about right for you.
Wow.
All right, let's end the podcast.
All right. See you next week where we may or may not talk about Valentine's Day. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.